Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts. We'll do another unboxing of the breakdown of the demo. This is Slain Back from Hell. This is an import game that I've been wanting to get to for a while now, but just several things beginning in the way of that. Some of it you already know, some of the things are just other life things, but I finally got to it and I sat down and played it and everything like that, and the game is an enjoyable experience, but not the best experience. I will start off with saying that there was a small update that was not very big, but it made it clear that you might not want to make a save point on the first save slot. So you might want to bear that in mind, because it apparently wipes the save if you do a clear data on the other slots. So just bear that in mind. You might want to just make a save file on the second or third, just a safety thing. But to get into the game and about my problems and stuff like that, I will talk about the good things about the game first. Slain Back from Hell is a gorgeous looking sprite looking game. It's got some massively detailed sprite work, and I have always been a fan of sprite graphics. It's just they're always gorgeous to look at, and even some of them will go beyond and past what AAA games can do with full graphics. Because I always felt that they gave a little bit more imagination, but also details to stuff that most 3D graphics and games like Last of Us and Uncharted and stuff like that, really polygon graphic games, don't seem to touch. The game is just, like I said, the game's gorgeous in its graphics, sprite graphics. Not only that, it's got some awesome death scenes with the main character, you, as well as good death scenes when you kill the enemy, as well as their monsters' designs are very, very creative and interesting, as well as the environment is really good. Top of that, there is some interesting and very good soundtracks in the game. Not a whole lot of soundtracks, but a lot of them are generally pretty good, and they do stand out when you're listening to it. If you just stop and play it and listen to it, there's actually some pretty good music in the game. Top it off, the game plays flawlessly. It's smooth, its animations and all that stuff are really good. It plays, I don't always like using this reference, but it's the quickest way to get an understanding of the game. It plays sort of like a Dark Souls reference. It's really hard until you start mastering the path. There's hardly any healing items. You got to make sure you got to learn where the enemies are going to be, where you're going to be, what you're going to do, and if you die, you will revert back to the last checkpoint, and enemies will come back. So it's like I said, it's kind of like a Dark Souls. I don't like using those comparisons, but it's just the best way I can get across the understanding that the game is going to be challenging for a lot of people, because there's a lot of trial and error, as well as that it's about quick time, about you being prepared and ready and act at the proper situation, as well as there's many traps out there that will instantly kill you if you don't pay attention to it. Sometimes some of them are pretty hidden, and there's no way for you to know it until you actually touched it and then you'll be aware of it. So it's kind of a trial and error kind of concept, which not a big fan of that style. I like to be punished when I was being clueless. I wasn't paying attention. Sometimes the traps can just look like part of the environment, like you had no idea. And sometimes the landscape and stuff like that, you think you can jump on something, but really you can't, even though it kind of looks like a platform you can jump on. Sometimes it could be a little confusing in that aspect as well, but nothing game breaking or anything like that, but you will notice it. But the game is about, as much as about offenses as well as about defense. You got a block move, which will decrease some amount of the damage you take, or at no damage at all. You can flick beams back at the enemy, which is pretty useful in its current situation, right situations. As well as you got a parry move, which is your most powerful move almost in the game, where you wait, you time attack when the enemy's about to hit you. You time the block move, and then you can hit a big, devastating big hit on them, and it really takes a lot of damage. And as well as you can even stun the enemy, so you can give yourself a bit of a breather. It kind of has its advantages, and like I said, the gameplay's smooth, the gameplay's fun, and everything like that. But there's also the flaws, like I said, the trial and error, the constantly feel that you are progressing, but you don't feel like you're progressing. You feel like you're just running down a path, which I know some people might get on me about that because I'm not a big open world game, but it just felt like I was never progressing as a character, because there's really not that many abilities and upgrades and stuff like that. You're just running to the location, and some people may enjoy that, that's fine, but like I said, it just felt like I didn't have no desire to keep going with it, because I wasn't feel like I was reaching newer heights with my character. There will be unlockable abilities and stuff like that, and you'll be able to increase your health gauge and stuff like that, but it just, I don't know. there's a lot more other games out there that offer a little bit more deeper and better experience in that field, and as well as had great looking sprite graphics and offer a much more detailed and aspects. So I just felt very limited. But it's not like I'm saying it's a bad game. It's a game that I think you should all try to get in your collection. It's not the ultimate, most expensive thing to get in your collection either. So I can't hardly argue with it. But for what it is, it's an enjoyable experience for an indie developed game. It's got some good music, good graphics, good gameplay. So it's not really a bad game. It's just maybe it's more me. Maybe I was looking for a little bit more something like Brutal Legends, a little bit more reference to rock and roll, because the game really has a heavy metal feel to it, and it's just the main protagonist almost so it has like a heavy metal rock and roll kind of guy to him. So I was maybe a little bit looking for more rock and roll references or something like that. Just something to make me smile and giddy a little bit, because I'm a big fan of heavy rock and roll music, either classic rock and roll or, you know what I mean, among other rock and roll music. But I am a big fan of classical music too. I love pianos and stuff like violins and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of classical music. But I do enjoy the fact that you can get to a segment where you can actually pick what segment world you can go to. You have a beginning, you can only go to, you can only choose between two, but as things progress, you'll be able to unlock more paths to go to, and each place will have its own little challenges and enemies as well. There, it's, like I said, for what it is, it's really not that bad, but somehow you do feel like there could have been something a little more to this. If they had just maybe gone the extra mile or just done a little bit more tweaked alterations here and there, it probably could have been one of those gems that you would have really enjoyed on your shelf. Heck, it could have probably maybe went with the Metrovania style, but it's more of a linear path running. You start at one point, you try to run to the end, and there will be some hardships in the game. Bear in mind, if you're going to be switching your weapons, you'd think you'd be using your D-pad, but you got to use your other right joystick to switch between turning off and on your abilities, your fire sword and your regular sword, so on and so forth. Just bear that in mind. I was constantly using the D-pad because I think that's how it should be, but regardless, it's not that big of a deal, and it's a good game if you're interested in it. It's gorgeous to look at, good music, good sprite work. It's not a bad game, it's just not the best that you can get out there. But there's also a lot worse you can spend your money on. Micro Machines name. Go ahead and get Slain Back from Hell. It's actually a pretty good game to get in your collection, and I'm kind of proud to have it there. So maybe eventually I'll pick it up and get back into it and stuff like that. And so, like always, I will leave links down in the description if you're interested in the copy. I don't see no reason not to push it to the side, but I don't see no reason to immediately rush and try to add it to your collection either. So, like always, thank you all for watching, and I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye-bye!